you ask questions, I'll try to repeat your questions for you so that it can be recorded on here, because I think that's important when you go back over this, and it's almost like your own DVD. I'll tell you, these recordings are unedited, so they're exactly what you hear and see here. You're going to see the screen and you're going to hear me speaking, because if I took time to edit the 6 hours of classes today, it wouldn't get up there. So anyway, going forward, the iOS is the operating system. On the Mac, you have Mac OS. You have applications, but now they're called apps on your Mac too. But just remember this. If it's an app for the Mac, it isn't exactly the same for the iOS. You have to buy it again, so to speak. Okay? So now, who here uses Pages? Apple's Pages, all right? So now the coolest news is two things. Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, which are called iWork, can be gotten from a browser on a PC. You can send somebody a document, they can sign up for a free iCloud account, and they can go right online and use Pages, Numbers, and Keynote in iCloud.com. So can you. But if you buy any new Apple device from 2 weeks ago forward, not upgrade, but new Apple device, it will include Pages, Numbers, and Keynote for no charge. Okay? It was pretty reasonable before. I think it was $14.99 for the Mac and what, $9.99 for the iOS device. And so if you're upgrading your device, no, but if you get a brand new device and it doesn't have it on there, it's fine. If you currently have it on there, you just still continue to get for what you've paid for. They're not going to issue a refund by any means, because it's well worth it. And on the iOS device, you can send people a Pages document, a PDF document, or even send it as a Word document. So that's why it's really important to have it. And it's great. It's wonderful. One thing you miss in on the iCloud version and the iOS version is the thing we're all familiar with if we use Pages much, is the Instant Alpha, where it removes all the backgrounds. That's still computer only. All right, so I want to, first thing, who here were oh, go ahead.
Have they done anything with Flash on the system?
You don't want Flash on your iOS device. So her question was, have they done anything with Flash? Yes, they've continued to not have it, which is the best thing for you. If you had Flash, which is these videos, video helpers, your battery life would be about an hour. Flash is what we have on our computer, which makes your fan spin up, makes Safari slow down. If you go to yahoo.com, they have all this Flash on the side that's all these ads, and it's the worst thing in the world for the internet because it drags everything down. Very few mobile devices, Android used to, they don't anymore, support Flash video, because Flash video is so processor intensive, it just, your phone will heat up and everything else. A lazy web designer still uses Flash. A smart web designer starts using HTML5, which is supported across everything. And you're going to see more and more of that. Flash will become less and less needed. Obviously, those people that link to videos on Facebook, you go to click on it, and it says you need Flash player. Hey, they need to address that. It's on their end. It's not your device. You don't want Flash. So Flash is a video helper, and it's really painful. Who here were former MobileMe users? Okay, you all got that email that says your extra 20 gigabytes of space expires on September 30th, right? Who hasn't taken care of that yet? Okay, so the idea is everybody that gets iCloud gets 5 gigabytes for free. Those old MobileMe users, because we paid for 20 gigabytes a year, they grandfathered us in, and they've let us have a total of 25, the 5 free plus the 20 we had. If you're using, and that's where you use iPhone backup, iOS backup, documents, Pages, different things, your computer doesn't back up to the cloud. But if you're backing up your phone and it says you need more, it's $40 for a year for the extra 20 gigabytes. But you need to act on it by September 30th. What I do is, I'm kind of a special person, and I get 20% off. I wait till the iTunes gift cards are on sale, and I buy iTunes gift cards and put them in my iTunes account to build up a reserve. So it never pings my credit card. it in fact uses my stored up iTunes accounts. So instead of paying $40, I only have to pay 30, 32, something like that, 33. So when you see iTunes gift cards on sale, buy them, store them on Apple. We know Apple's not going to go out of business, so they'll always have value. So like when I buy apps or do anything else, I'm essentially getting a 20% discount. So if you will lose anything above 5 gigabytes. And they'll warn you a couple times, and I got a feeling they're going to say, well, you need to do this. We're going to give you a 2-week buffer or something like that. But just if you're forewarned and you can get an iTunes gift card on sale somewhere, then that's an easy way to do it. But otherwise, just going to it'll bill. You have to set it up to bill your credit card. It might be automatically set up to bill your credit card. So that you just go into your iCloud storage from either of your devices. Let me show you where that is on your iPad, for instance. You go into iPad, or settings, the gray gear. Go down to iCloud. Go down to storage and backup. And you see where it says change storage plan. I tap on that. Okay. There we go. So I've already activated mine, but otherwise it'll say upgrade to that. So what I did is I've taken it, so it's going to take it from my iTunes account. My iTunes account is standing at like $130, and I have a bunch of iTunes cards at home that I bought. Little trick on the iTunes gift cards. Check the deal sites, fatwallet.com, things like that. If you're going to buy some, what you can do is email a thing and say, Ken, iTunes gift card, I'll put you on a list when I know they come up and available. Because what I do with iTunes gift cards is, when they're on sale somewhere near Christmas, you can either get them emailed to you or they'll send you a card. But how many times at Christmas time do you get somebody that comes over and they brought you a gift and you hadn't expected it? And you're looking around for what you can re-gift right away. Wrap it up really quick for them and re-gift them for them, right? And so what I do is I always have a few iTunes gift cards around, either that were emailed to me or in my hand. And I can easily send them to them or give it to them. And it looks like I planned this all along. And the best thing is I give them a $50 gift card that only cost me $40. So, frugal Ken. But it is, and then so what happened, the best part is, after Christmas, okay, about New Year, I'm safe. I put them in my account if I didn't use them. So, it's not like they go to waste. All right. So that was hugely important news. Now, I'm going to touch on, so the iOS is both the iPhone and the iPad and some few iPod touches, but I'm going to mostly talk, some of the things we're going to do is on the phone, some is on the iPad. When I talk about apps in the afternoon, there are apps that are only for the iPhone that can work on the iPad okay, or there's apps that are only available for the iPad that won't work on the iPhone, and then there's other apps that do both. But the first thing I want to talk about is the camera. Now, both of our devices have cameras, so I'm going to tap the camera button and the camera button. So let me see if I can move these over a little. Okay. Oh, doesn't help if I'm got the camera so you can't see anything. So here's you guys from the iPad and the iPhone. Okay. You'll notice it's a new interface. I'm gonna turn it off on the iPad because I can't juggle very well. And on the iPhone, in the camera now, I swipe across the screen and then it goes to video. If I swipe back the other way, I can do a square type photo, and a square photo is actually what it requires for Facebook and places like that. So instead of being a wide landscape photo, it does a 4:3. It's not super square. Panorama is wonderful. I'll show you here. We're going to do a quick little panorama app. So I press the button and I start it. I slid across to panorama. On the bottom is the little, see where it says pano across the bottom? Oh, yeah. So I went to that first. Now here's the panorama I just took. How do I get it where? You slide the face, you slide the screen like when you switch screens normally. You know, on the iPad, I just switch screens like this. When I'm in camera mode, I just switch, and you'll notice on the bottom, that's square, there's photo, and the best part is, because everybody used to hit video, and then they'd forget video was on. When you do video, always have your phone in landscape mode. Have you ever seen a TV screen that's up and down? You want to take your videos in landscape mode, okay? It doesn't show on the screen that way. Then the next one is, do those of you, I'm not sure if it's here, do those of you that don't have an iPhone 5S, sorry, does yours show slow-mo? Is slow-mo an option? Okay, so in the iPhone 5S, and it's because it has a new processor in it, if I take slow motion video, let's try it here. Let's see Sean bounding towards us. Come on up here, Sean. Move. Let's see what happens here. Wave your hands. Okay, we'll hit stop. Okay, so let's play that back. Oh, TV connected. Oh, here we go. Hopefully it'll play. It won't because of the screen share thing I do. Sorry. But it does. It takes essentially 120 frames per square inch. Frames per square inch. Frames per second. God, that's weird. There we go. It takes 120 frames, so it, in fact, can do super slow motion. Normal video is 30 frames a second, so it's slowed down 4 times. So it's really cool because you can get stop motion video. But the coolest thing about slow-mo video is it's taking full frame photos every time. So if you have somebody that's jumping, what you can do is you can pick out which one of those photos you want to use, because it's not just a video, it's a bunch of still frames. So that slow-mo, that's only available in the 5S, and I believe, I'm not positive about the new 5C. But the camera, does anyone know what the best camera in the world is?
One you have in your pocket.
And what do you have with you almost all the time? The iPhone camera is usually better than the iPad camera, and the iPhone camera has a flash. The new 5S has 2 flashes in it, one that's got a blue tint and one that's got a yellow tint. So it, depending on the lighting situation, it will balance your white balance out very well, and there's 1,000 combinations that it will sense in milliseconds to determine what's going to be the best color of that flash. Al?
I've been hearing reports about folks like myself who have 4Ss, and with the camera app being a bit sluggish, and especially if you're doing panoramas. I was out and about shooting some panoramas, and you know, after I take it, it's processing it, and it's just...
It was okay in 6, but it's gotten slow in 7?
Yes, slow with iOS 7.
So remember, this is the first iteration of iOS 7. By the time we get to 7.1, it'll do it. But Apple doesn't try to obsolete previous previous hardware. But what happens is they try to move on and give us more compelling things, but sometimes it's at the expense of performance on the previous devices. So I really think, now the other thing is, people were complaining about battery life right after they upgraded to iOS 7. They've changed the search protocol in here completely. So for the first few days, it was actually going in and searching and indexing your entire phone. So it should improve after that. Everybody I know has had better battery life. So make sure you do a restart also, or restore, and see. That would be the best if that's been a persistent issue. You got to remember, panoramas are taking the full frame photo many times and putting it into one photo. So it's some serious heavy lifting. Yeah. Well, the restart is where you press and hold on the top, and watch on my screen here. Right there. Slide to power off. That's the equivalent of rebooting. So you slide to power off and then do the thing. That sometimes helps. Now, it's more or less like, oh, okay, wow, I'm going to redo it and refresh things. But any apps you had running in the background will continue to come back up. It'll come back up just like it was. If you were in the middle of an email, it'll come right up to that email usually. All right. iOS 7. So who here uses Pandora? Okay. iOS 7 introduced iTunes Radio. iTunes Radio. iTunes Radio is fantastic. And virtually every artist that's in iTunes is available on iTunes Radio. What that means is, now, it uses less data than Pandora. It's very compressed, but you will use data for any of these streaming radio services. Now, a streaming radio just means it's like listening to a radio station, but you pick the songs. You're not storing it. You're not doing anything else. You're simply listening to it. You can pause it, and you can have it pick back up. If a song comes up, it suggests certain songs. You say, no, I don't want that one. You can skip to the next song. But iTunes Radio is free, and you'll have a few audio ads come up. But there's a thing called iTunes Match that's $25 a year, and with that, you'll get it ad-free. But the best part is, if you have an iTunes library on your computer or multiple computers, iTunes Match will take all of your music, up to 25,000 songs, no matter how you acquired those songs. If you got them off the old Napster, or if you borrowed somebody's CD, or you got them off a torrent site, this is like buying amnesty for those songs. It will upload all those songs up to 25,000 to iTunes. It'll clean them up. It won't clean your song. It'll go find a higher version equivalent of it and get it for you and bring it down. And you'll clean up your iTunes library, and everything will be available that you quote own to stream down. But the beauty is, it also, for that money, gives you iTunes Radio for ad-free. iTunes Match, it's called. 25. And you know what? I get 20% off that also.
Yeah.
Because I use my iTunes gift card.
Does it fix the sound so that one will be loud and the other will be soft?
That's a great point. So does it fix the sound? Yes, but let's show you how you can fix the sound right now. Because that came out, and that's a good question. So everybody go to Settings, the gray gear. The gray gear right here. I'm going to do it on the iPhone. And if you go to Music, so look on the screen here. I'm starting at the top. I go down, not Sound, but I go down to Music, right below iTunes App Store, okay? Tap that. And right here is Sound Check. I always have it on. That's one of the first things I do. Because what happens is, you get one music in from a CD, you get another one that you download, and what this actually does is it samples your music and tries to give you a consistent sound level between all of them. So that's not usually on by default. You have to turn that on. Volume limit, the reason volume limit is in there is for parents that want to limit the amount of sound for their kids so they don't get their eardrums blown out. We've got no hope at this point, so we're already, if you were a child of the 60s and 70s. Shake to Shuffle, who has that on? Anybody have Shake to Shuffle on? You probably don't want that on, because what Shake to Shuffle is where it changes up your music. So if you shake your phone, it'll shuffle, and sometimes will even advance you to the next song. So you decide to use this for jogging, and every time you hit down, you're getting a new song. So the idea with Shake to Shuffle was go ahead and go to the next song, but that's one you probably want to have off. Lyric and podcast info, you can just kind of leave all that on. And then here's where the iTunes Match, you can either turn it on or turn it off. All right, go ahead.
So I downloaded a lot of songs that I can listen to on this, but it doesn't have a lot of storage. If I buy the iTunes Match, it'll every single
It won't. You can download what you choose to download to your phone, but anything that you have, you can stream it to your phone. So it's a little different than iTunes Radio. iTunes Radio, it picks, all the Neil Diamond songs or whatever. And you can choose certain ones, but you can't always say just a song. In this case, your iTunes music is up in the cloud, and you have access to it. And it's streaming, but it's your own stuff. It's not on the device. So if you're on Wi-Fi and stuff, it works out quite well. So iTunes Radio. Now, and there's new ringtones for iOS 7, by the way, too. This next part, I want everyone to follow along and do, because this to me is, I can't believe Apple doesn't include this in your device, but it's very, very helpful. If you're not connected to the, who here is not connected to the internet? Okay, let me show you iPad, iPhone, iPad. Okay, so let's show on the iPad. It's the same for both. So you hit the gray gear, and when you hit the gray gear, the second thing is Wi-Fi. Tap Wi-Fi, and hopefully it'll hold up. We've got a lot of people here today. I want you to click on EmpowerMac. And when you tap EmpowerMac, it should ring, and then you should get a check mark. It's the same place on your iPhone. If you didn't get a check mark or didn't connect,
I'm on guest.
your guest is working. No, guest is okay. If you're on guest, then you're fine. It won't connect. Okay, we have too many people on it. So, okay, so I apologize to those of you that didn't get up on the internet. Let me try. How many people did not get on the internet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you're on. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're on the iPhone, you don't have to use the Wi-Fi. This would be iPad only. I'm very sorry. Who has an iPad that's not on the internet? Okay. All right. Let me get you set up here. So in a second, we're going to have a little extra. I brought 2 extra Wi-Fi hotspots. Yes, I was a Boy Scout at one time.
If I turn Wi-Fi
Oh,
off,
great.
that'll help.
Yeah, that'll release it. That would be good. Thank you. If you have a good data plan and you don't mind, if you go ahead and turn Wi-Fi off on your iPhone, it'll help other people. And this is just for this one part this part's very important. We have to have internet for this. So come on, little hotspot.
We need to do this to both of my devices. Can you use your phone as a hotspot?
If you have that set, if you have a data plan, it allows you to, yes. If you've used it as a hotspot before. Okay, so this is firing up. So what this screen I'm going to show you should be on everybody's device, and it's actually a user guide that's not really a book. It's interactive. So there we go. So those of you with iPads, please, only the people that weren't able to connect on iPads, go to your Wi-Fi, and do you see one that says, it'll show up here in a second, Freedom Pop? Which, by the way, you can all get free Wi-Fi hotspots. I'll tell you about that later. So for Freedom Pop, click on Freedom Pop, and it's lowercase Freedom Pop, all one word. Again, if you have an iPhone, you don't need this. This would only be and it'll only handle, I think, up to 5 people. So, yeah, just for the people that can't get their iPad connected.
B5D.
Yeah, B5D. Don't connect your laptop to it.
I'm not. I'm just typing it out.
Got you in? Did you get in, Dean?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't put in the B5D.
No, you shouldn't. It's just plain old. It's lowercase Freedom Pop. Did you try it with no caps? Make sure.
Should I pronounce it EmpowerMac or Freedom?
It's on your phone. You don't need to be on either. Okay, I'll try to get this other one fired up for you. Make sure my devices are still on. Good. So another Freedom Pop's going to show up, and I'll give you the password for it in a sec. So go ahead and dismiss that one, Dean. This is where, for Pete, I would usually play the Jeopardy theme song. So, but again, this is super important.
No. So you're going to say.
No, he doesn't want to do
So wait till this fires up. You're going to have a different one here. And actually, we can do it on your phone, and then we'll show you how to do it on iPad. But you're on your regular network, so you're fine. You're on. Your phones are always connected, even if you're not on Wi-Fi. So that'll be. You don't need that. So okay, enough Jeopardy. Okay. So let me return this in a second. Oh, there it is. You're going to see a different one that says Overdrive. This is for your iPad, Dean. Hit cancel or join. Yeah, just hit cancel. And look for Overdrive.
Okay. Well, I've got mine right here.
Yeah, but I want to have you do it on your iPad too. So
Okay.
find Overdrive,
Got it.
and it's 91062. Go ahead, enjoy. Great. All right, everybody's connected. Thank you. Sorry. So, how many iPhones are here? How many iPads are here? Okay, we'll do both.
And we should do. We need to do it.
What I'll do is let's start doing it on the iPad because it's a little bigger screen and you can see it better. And the exact same thing will happen. And actually, this will apply even to her using iOS 6 because when she goes to 7, it'll automatically detect she's using 7. So, go to Safari. It won't do her software update over.
Hers is coming along.
Yeah, but it won't do software update over cellular. It'll only do it over Wi-Fi. So that could be kind of we've all slowed you down because we're all connected now. All right, so I'm in Safari. And what I'd like you to do is, if you go up to the very top, this is now, unlike before, we used to have a Google search bar and we had the regular URL just like the Mac. Now we have one unified search bar. So I want everybody to tap up there one time, and your keyboard should pop up. If your keyboard doesn't pop up or if you don't have a keyboard available, please let me know. It's important the keyboard pops up. If you don't have a keyboard, let me know. Okay, we'll get yours later. You'll see this. So, actually, do you see Overdrive on your internet?
Yes.
Okay, go to Overdrive. 91062. All right. So, it highlights it. I tapped on it. It brought up the keyboard. It highlights, which means I don't need to delete it. I can start typing where it is. So, I'm going to type help, H-E-L-P, all lowercase,
Can I don't have a keyboard?
because you've got your weird funky keyboard.
No?
Help. When I say dot, it means period. Apple.com. Now, I'm getting it already filling in, but please, if you haven't got it filled in, you need to follow this. Help.apple.com/ and then type in, we're doing iPad first, so it's the iPad, we're going to type in IPAD. So, help.apple.com iPad. Please, this is imperative. Make sure you've got that.
Slash after the iPad.
There's a slash, yeah. So actually, hold on. Yours is right here. See, it's already in the pull down. If it's already in the pull down, don't worry about it.
I punched that.
Safari. I know it's different. Anybody not there, please. So you're there. So, all right, now, if it shows up in your pull down right here, see, right here, if it shows up in your pull down, click on that. Or if you just have apple.com, help.apple.com/iPad, hit go. And this is what your screen should look like on the iPad. We'll do the phone in 1 second because most of you have both devices. Okay. It should look like my screen, right? Oh, wait. What the heck?
Right.
Hold on. I didn't do help.apple.com.
Yeah.
Ken, right above your keyboard on the left, it says private. Is that
Private browsing, so they don't nothing can follow you. It took a while for it to load. Okay, so before we do anything with this guide, I'm going to show you how you can save it so you never have to enter that again, and this is critical. If you'll notice, we used to have a little box that had a curly arrow or a curly arrow that used to be like the keys to the kingdom. Well, now it's this very subtle, I can't hardly see box. It's very hard to tap right here. Tap, once it's loaded, tap that.
Lock that one.
Right here, Ed, this guy right here. The little box with the arrow out of it. Now, this does a lot of different things. AirDrop, which we'll learn about in the afternoon, or maybe a little today. You can message someone this page, you can email them this page, you can Twitter this page, you can Facebook this page, or if you notice here on the bottom, I can bookmark the page, I can add to reading list, I can add to home screen is what we're looking for. And by the way, all the way to the right, if you have a printer that does it, Debbie will, because hers is sitting right here, don't let me forget. The print is there, but we want to tap add to home screen. Everybody should get this when you tap add to home screen. If you don't, Sean or I need to help you. Who doesn't have that up?
You got it up?
Oh, sorry, Jude.
Yeah, it's on Apple.
Okay, everybody there? Okay, we're testing the limits of our internet. Good, you got it. Judy, did yours come up yet? Okay, we'll address yours maybe at lunch. Okay, or at break. So, it says add to home screen. It's got this cool looking little question mark. And what I want you to do is up in the upper right hand corner, press add. up arrow.
Oh, how neat is that?
Or no, add to home screen.
Just did it on the phone.
Okay. So from this point, it's added to your home screen. I'm going to show you this way around here. Don't everybody follow along because it's going to tax the internet. Believe it or not, this is actually part of Safari. And it's interactive. So the beauty is, if she added it, when she goes to help.apple.com iPhone and she's an iOS 6, it senses that she's using iOS 6 and the user guide will be iOS 6. When you go to it, it says you're using iOS 7. So the best part is, as updates come out to the maybe 7.2, has some new features, they can add it to that. But all of a sudden, when iOS 8 comes out a year from now, you'll hit that same help thing and it'll take you right to iOS 8. It senses it.
So will it replace, I had iOS 6.
If you had the iOS 6, you simply tap on your old iOS 6 button. In fact, I wanted to show you here on my iPhone. This was early in iOS 6 help screen. It used to say 1, 2, 3 on it. The most recently, it's gotten all ugly white. But if I click on either of these, it takes me to the same spot because it senses what you're using. Pretty tricky, Apple.
And actually, mine didn't come up with a question mark. It came up with
Are you running iOS 7? It may not have fully loaded the page, so we can check that later. So, if you'll notice on my home screen, and I'll do this if you guys can follow along, I have iPad user guide. So we're not going to delve into this because this is your own pathway to all the goodness in iOS 7. So if I tap the iPad user guide, it'll come up.
Just put you out of business, Kim?
I'll tell you, so great question. Kathy asked us to put me out of business. iPads and iPhones need so much less help than the Macs do. And that's a good thing because if you're not frustrated with having to make the darn thing work or having problems with hard drives and all that, you're going to need me to teach you other things. And I like teaching better than repairing. But believe me, you need a repair, I'm your guy. So
Would that have gone automatically into your iPhone too?
the iPhone is different. While I'm waiting for it to load on my iPad, let's go to the iPhone. Go to Safari on your iPhone. So we go to at the top again, and it's help.apple.com/iPhone. And once you've gone to the site, it'll always fill in. /iPhone, just I.
Apple
help.apple.com/iPhone. And now, the same thing here, if you'll notice, we have the same box with the arrow out of it. It's on the bottom this time. Okay? I can't believe Apple doesn't put this on it from the beginning. So, same thing. You don't have to be there yet because the internet's a little slow, but if you click on this and you say, add to home screen, and you'll now get that question mark. And it's funny because when it's on your home screen, it looks like an app. That's really a Safari bookmark, essentially. So if you have a bank site you go to a lot, yes, you can put it in your bookmarks and everything else, but you can add it to your home screen, and it looks like an app, and you click on it, it takes Safari right to there. Anything else you want to do. So now, we're going to show you how this works. So follow along on this rather than do it on your own, because otherwise it won't be responsive because it's not built in. It's actually using the internet. So I'm going to go to the iPad first, and let's just say here, iPad at a glance. I tap on that, and you'll notice this is essentially a table of contents. And I can go down here and say iPad overview, and it loads an overview of the iPad. Okay. If I want to go down here farther and look at, say, Siri, which we all want to know how Siri works, so I clicked on Siri down below, and I say use Siri. It's loading. Hello. It's loading. It's loading. There it is. Up. It's very slow. So while it's being slow, let's go back over to the iPhone. Now on the iPhone, it doesn't have the table of contents on the side because our phone is usually in an upright position. You'll notice these little lines right here. That gives us our table of contents menu. And if I tap Siri and I tap Make Requests, it tells you about Siri. And you'll notice this is like a hyperlink. How do you do it? You connect to the internet, so it says connect to the internet, and it brings up that topic. So it's all this little, great little thing that's all in there. If I want to go back to my table of contents, I tap that. Same thing over here. Let's go over here and look at calendar, for instance. Calendar at a glance. So, play with this on your own time. There's a ton of stuff in there. And it may update. Go ahead. Hi, Anna. No, and never will be. It doesn't have the processing power. So Siri is pretty much tied to the hardware. So it works on any iPad mini, iPads 3, 4s, and when the 5s come out in October, iPhone 4S, and iPhone 5 and iPhone 5S, and 4th and 5th generation iPod Touches. So... and we're going to do a little bit of Siri here right now. Okay, so we can revisit those. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that because everybody's going to be able to play with that themselves, but it was important to get those so they're on your home screen. And they don't have to be on the first page. I like to, when I have people first starting off, I move it down to the dock for them. Okay, so how do we do that? If I go to my iPad, I don't have room on my iPhone, I'm going to press and hold. Don't do this, just watch. Press and hold on the iPad user guide. All my little things are shaking. They're nervous. They're saying, Ken, what are you doing? No, don't delete me. But I can take and just click and drag and put it right down there. And now the iPad user guide is down there anytime I want it, no matter what page I'm on, right? I'll put it back where it was. Oop, I don't want to make a folder. There we go. And to make them less nervous, just hit the home button. And they're safe. They don't have to worry anymore. They're still on the team. All right. The iPad has up to 6. The iPhone up to 4. All right. So here yeah, I need Siri to talk for me. Who here doesn't have Siri on their device, or who here isn't sure? Okay. Press and hold your home button, and it will either come up and beep beep.
Oh, this is Siri?
That's Siri. That's Siri.
Yeah, I love this.
If you have an iPad mini, you have it. iPhone 4S has it. Original iPad 2s and original iPad 1s don't have it. Okay? So was there anybody here that didn't have Siri? You don't have it? You have it on your phone? Great. Because Siri's the bomb. She's my girlfriend. I'll let you use her if you're very nice. So, I hear Siri talking to me. So,
Microsoft is making fun.
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. All right. She heard, the voices in your head now can be female or male is what it is. The man's voice. You can change Siri to a man's voice. Let's show you that right now.
I did. I like them more.
All right. The less people that use my girlfriend, the better. So, on either device, if you go to Settings, this may not be available to everyone, but it should be. Go Settings, General, settings, general, Siri. When you tap on Siri, you'll notice that the voice gender you can change now. Siri's female voice has improved dramatically and the male voice is good. It's very common. It just sounds less robotic. So you can change that if you want. I would leave it on US English. It used to be to get the male voice, you had to do Australian or British, and you would get a male voice. But then, of course, when you said anything, it would say color or favor, right? Or decals, as they say in Canada.
I'm not showing Siri as an option, but I do it on
On the iPad,
You have 7
yeah, it would have been an option for anyone.
Oh, okay.
All right. Unfortunately, fortunately, there's not a gender non-specific voice. Pat. You would just say Pat. All right. So that's Siri. Now, Siri has two components. The first component is, and I'm going to demonstrate this in an email. Don't do this. Don't follow along. But when I do an email, if I have Siri, every time I have a keyboard, I have a microphone. That microphone indicates that it will do dictation for me. Not Siri, it'll do dictation, and there's a distinct difference. So, I'm going to show you how dictation works. You'll notice I've gone into the body of it. I'm not doing names. They don't do names. Don't use it to fill out the mail and things like that. Don't everybody do this because we need the internet connection for this. I'm just going to show you. I tap the microphone and then I can start speaking for up to 30 seconds. If you notice, comma, the wave at the bottom, it shows the level of my voice, period. You don't have to speak loudly, comma, the microphones are great, exclamation mark. New line. If you say the word new and the word line, you get single spacing, period, new line. If you say the word new and the word paragraph, you get double spacing, period, new paragraph. To say numbers, if you say 1 and then you say 5, you get them spelled out, period, new paragraph. If you say new, it's 30 seconds, right? So, it timed out after 30 seconds, and if the internet cooperates, I don't usually I go in shorter phrases because if it screws up, I'll never have that great thought again. So we'll give it a second here again. We've really taxed the internet. But what this is doing, it's recording what I'm saying and sending it out over the internet to Maiden, North Carolina, where Apple's supercomputer is, and then sending it back to you as, well, theoretically sending it back to you as text, and it will never misspell a word because it consults a dictionary first. And the reason it consults a dictionary is, in case my diction wasn't good and I mumbled, it tries to delineate what the actual word is, and I think we're going to be timed out. I'll probably do this from the phone because it seems to do it a little bit better.
Does it have a medical dictionary?
It doesn't have a specific dictionary, but it will learn some words. There is Dragon Dictation Medical you can get to do it. So, since that's holding up, I'm going to try it from my iPhone, comma, because sometimes it works better, period. As I was saying, don't forget to speak your punctuation, exclamation mark, new paragraph. If you say 1, it writes it out longhand, or 5, period, new paragraph. If you say numeral 1 and you say numeral 5, it will do it that way, period. This is Siri, and she's, quote, my girlfriend, closed quote. So, the iPad's still going. So, I'm going to try it for my iPhone, and you'll notice I say, oh no, I'm sorry, it's up here. If you say 1, O-N-E, or 5. If you say 1 and you say 5, I said numeral 1, numeral 5, and remember I said, quote, closed quote, and I said new paragraph, which gives us single space or double spacing. If you say new line, it gives you single spacing. So I had a lot of people tell me before the class, you know, I don't like Siri. It doesn't. You know, the first time you sat in front of a keyboard, or a typewriter, I should say, it was slow. You got better. Typewriter didn't change. You got better. Spend some time with it. This is simple speech-to-text dictation, and I like to see people practice here because there's not this rush. Because with Siri, if you pause too long, she'll come back at you. So if I'm typing like this, and I can pick up where I left off, I can simply start where I left off, period, and keep going in segments of 30 seconds, period. Okay? Okay? Everywhere I have a keyboard, not these external keyboards.
But you went into Siri first?
Nuh-uh. I just went to message, and when my keyboard pops up, that microphone is there. If your device is capable of Siri, and this isn't Siri. So,
Question.
go ahead.
How do you send it?
You don't. It just happens.
But if you want to send that message to somebody,
Well, how do you normally do it?
well, do you fill in the person to whom it's going first or after you give the message?
Don't overcomplicate it. This simply replaces typing on your keyboard.
All right, so you have
I would still have to fill it in.
and you would do that first.
Well, yeah, but for this, but what I was trying to point out is, don't start saying the name up there because proper names don't work well.
Right.
I'm showing you what it's going to look like in the
So
body.
you
Yep.
send it as you would any message.
Exactly. It's simply instead of typing. That's all it is at this point. So let me show you on the iPad if it'll. I'm going to try it one more time and see if it
Well,
works.
question on that same thing.
Okay.
If you're replying, can you just say reply?
When I get into Siri, that's going to be a little different. So hang on.
Okay.
So the way to do it is if you hit reply, yes, you can have it type for you. This is all this is doing is typing what you say. So don't read any more into it than that because it's really what it does. It's in place of a keyboard. It's speech to text dictation, and it's literal. I'm drunk. New paragraph. Will I need a jacket today? See if it handles a short one. And it's not. So this would be a perfect time for me to restart my iPad, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this just so I can demonstrate this. You'll notice what my signature says. Sorry if the message is curt, has typos or weird insertions from Siri. I put that as a normal disclaimer on my stuff because Siri can make mistakes. And this way I'm covered. I have total absolution, right? No, I didn't say that. Siri said that. And we know there's some pretty funny autocorrects. All right, I'm going to type in, I'm drunk, new paragraph. Will I need a jacket today? Question mark. Okay, so it's a literal translation or literal dictation of what I said. But watch what happens when I go out of here and I use Siri. I'm drunk.
Neither of us is driving home.
And that says, call me a taxi. So if I tap that,
I found 5 cab companies. Tap the one you want to call.
they're geographically based to where I am. In the not too distant future, that's not going to be cab companies. You're going to click on it and it'll be the closest cab with things like Uber and things like that. So let's talk about this a second. When I said I'm drunk, she typed I'm drunk when I was asking her to type for me, to dictate. But with Siri, she added artificial intelligence to this. I said I'm drunk. She read that, interpreted it, and says, maybe you shouldn't be driving. Now, that's not a statement. It's just to show you how the artificial intelligence works. So she came back to that, and then she made the results pertinent to what I was asking. Will I need a jacket tonight? Or today, I
The
think.
low will be 61 degrees Fahrenheit tonight.
I didn't say what's the low going to be. She said Ken's asking if he needs a jacket. Well, I'll give him what the low temperature is. So the low temperature, she said, was 61. So convert 61 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Okay, give me a moment. 61 degrees Fahrenheit converts to about 16.1 degrees Celsius.
Or if we're traveling in Europe, convert 350 US dollars to euros.
Let me check on that. 350 US dollars converts to about 258.83 euros.
Now, is there a compelling reason to start using Siri?
Yes.
Okay, we were doing emails before. So send Sean Bogwell an email. Oh, it's got 2 addresses for him. Hang on. Yeah, let's... Okay. Send Sean Bogwell an email.
Sean Bogwell has no email address. You can use one of these and
I got to fix that.
what's the subject of the email?
Just testing Siri.
Okay, what would you like the email to say?
Hi, Sean, comma, thanks for being Lisa today, comma. This is just a test, period. No need to reply, exclamation mark.
Here's your message to Sean Bogwell. Ready to send it?
Yes, send it.
Okay, I'll send it.
I also can send a text message that way. I can have it check my mail. Launch iTunes Music.
Which app would you like
Oh.
to use? Music, iTunes Store.
See, I got too many apps. Launch music. Play songs by Hiroshima.
Here's Hiroshima, shuffled.
It doesn't come through there. It comes through, unfortunately. Skip to the next song.
Skipping.
It's coming through here, not through the speaker because of the way this setup is. Pause music.
Okay, pause.
All right. Anybody got any things we might try with? Well, here. What is the meaning of life?
I give up.
Get some football scores.
Oh, come on. What is the meaning of life?
42.
Is there anybody recording the game that doesn't want football scores?
42.
Yeah, and it also says chocolate. Is anyone recording it that this will be a spoiler? Who's playing right now?
Who do you want to hear us work? What would you pick
Well,
What about a past game?
what's the score of the New York Jets game?
The Jets, Titans game starts at 1:05 p.m.
But it would tell me the score.
And what,
Give me directions to the Sacramento International Airport. Bless you.
Getting directions to Sacramento
I'm sorry, if you
International
sneezed while she was
Airport.
doing it, or you coughed it. So, and you'll notice real-time live
Starting
traffic.
route to Sacramento International Airport. Head east on Encino Avenue, then turn left
Coming
onto
through here,
Alta Vista
unfortunately.
Avenue.
Ah. Find In-N-Out Burger on my route.
I found 2 restaurants along your route named In-N-Out Burger fairly close to you.
They're not on my route, but anyway. So I'm going to end my... So, here's an interesting thing with Siri. Find the nearest sushi restaurant.
I found 15 sushi restaurants fairly close to you. I've sorted them by distance.
Sorted them by distance. Find the best sushi restaurant nearby.
I found 15 sushi restaurants. 14 of them are fairly close to you. I've sorted them by rating.
By Yelp rating. Yelp is the crowdsourced thing. So Siri can do everything for you. In my car, I have Bluetooth in my car, and I simply tap my Bluetooth button, and Siri comes up and she's at my disposal. So without my hands leaving my wheel, and without looking at the screen, because Apple has eyes free, if I go to send a text message or an email using Bluetooth or even the included headset that comes with your iPhone, when I compose that email, she will read back to me whatever I put in. She'll read it back, so I know, because I don't have to look at my screen. It's part of what Apple calls their eyes-free initiative. They're trying to keep people from texting like this, or of course now that we have the texting laws in California, people go down here and they text like this, which is even worse. They're both bad, but I text all day long, and my hands never leave my wheel, and I never lose sight. I can listen. It's the same as a phone call. Greg?
What have you noticed improvement from 6 to 7? Because I use Siri all the time. I'm just wondering, are there some new features that
She made my iPad suck, but no, it's just I think it's an internet thing there. Siri's voice is better. She can do more things, and she doesn't make as many mistakes with words and things. She's constantly improving. Siri before was called a beta. That's the first time Apple's ever put out a beta. And all I can say is in my day-to-day life, it's become more and more seamless. I got to tell you, though, in the last few days or the last week, it's been kind of tough because more people got new iPhones that have Siri in them, so a lot of people are overloading the servers. Yeah. But Apple is constantly updating what they can do with that. And when you really think about that, God dang, that's amazing from this little device. Current temperature. You can do what you. What's the current temperature in Paris, France?
It's 63 degrees Fahrenheit right now in Paris, France.
Will you marry me?
My end-user licensing agreement does not cover marriage.
All right. So the other nice thing is I have on my iPhone 500 different apps. I have about 300 on my iPad. So I can tell it to launch an app, which we're going to talk about later, which Al turned me on to. Launch TPE. Now this is a very obscure app. The Photographer's Ephemeris. So the cool thing here is this app, which we'll talk about later, there's the golden hour before sunset. So sunset happens, this is the golden hour before sunset. That's the angle where the sun sets. Sunrise happens at this angle, and this is during the golden hour here. But I just said TPE, and it searched the 500 apps. I always thought it would just be apps. I have another one called Launch Sun GPS. I have another one called Soul that gives me a reminder half hour before sunrise and a half hour before sunset. So this is a little, it just does all these apps.
So that's a good way to search for apps.
It's a great, yeah, and like, so if I have my navigation up, I can say how long to my next destination. And what's really cool is built into all of this that's coming is if you make an event on your calendar and you say where that event is, it's going to say, you should leave within the next 5 minutes to get there in time because there's a lot of traffic there. Now, we had a class yesterday on notes and reminders. But I'm going to show you quickly how to add things to a calendar, how to add things to reminders, and how to add things to notes. But we're not going to go deep into that because you missed that class, and it's been recorded. But to me, this is huge. Those of you that aren't using calendars might be convinced that it works really well. So first, I'm going to bring up my calendar on my iPad. And I'm going to make an appointment. Let's see here. Okay. Schedule test October 5th. Oh, hang on.
Okay.
schedule test at noon on October 5th.
Okay, I can create your meeting. Note that you already have 3 events that overlap with this. Shall I schedule it anyway?
No, cancel.
Alright, Ken, I'll leave it off your calendar.
Sometimes she'll say you're probably too busy anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how easy it is to make an appointment. When's my next appointment?
Your next appointment is at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. I can do a thing called reminders. Reminders is this list you can make, but they can also be location-based or time-based. So a reminder is not, it's something like set a reminder on Friday at 2 to make a dentist appointment, and it'll pop up on all your devices. So it's 11. At 11:35, remind me to call the dentist.
Here's your reminder for today at 11:35 a.m. Shall I create it?
Yes, confirm. And I can tap it too. So
Okay, I'll remind
I've
you.
just made a reminder. That's time-based. I can make a reminder that's location-based. How many times are you somewhere and you want to remember to do something? When I leave here, remind me to call Jesse.
You have 5 phone numbers for contacts named Jesse Hernandez. Which one should I use?
Mobile.
Here's your reminder for when you leave here. Shall I create it?
Yes, confirm.
Okay, I'll remind you.
So, when you have an iPhone and sometimes on your iPads, you have this what's called a geofence going around you at all times. And that geofence is this big circle. Not too big, actually, about 300 feet. And I said, here is not in my address book. But here, it knows where here is, where I'm here. So it says, when I leave here, it's going to pop up and say, call Jesse. It won't automatically call Jesse, but the little pop-up will happen, and it'll say, call Jesse. And when it says, call Jesse, it'll put his phone number there, and do you want to call? I tap it, and it will call Jesse. I can say, when I get home, remember to take out the trash. And when I get home, or you're sitting here and go, oh man, I got to change the sprinkler cycle because it's raining. When I get home, remind me to change the sprinklers. And since home is probably in your address book, when you get home, it'll pop up when you get out 300 feet from your house and say, hey, change the sprinkler watering schedule. So the other one is time-based. As soon as it pops up, we're going to take our little break. So Sean is going to go grab the menus, and he'll pass them out. You don't have to eat here. You're welcome to. Those of you that aren't doing the second class, you're welcome to stick around and join us for lunch. I don't know where we'll be eating, but he's going to get the menus. Rosa will come in and take your orders. And or Rosa or whoever it is will take your orders. They'll give you a little number. Hang on to that number. That way they can see. And when we break at 1:05, somewhere in there, they'll give you your meal by your order. And I'm dragging on so I can wait for this reminder to pop up. So these reminders I just made are propagated to all my devices. And you can see on my computer I have 3 devices, my iPad, my iPhone, and my Macintosh, right? In a second here, actually while we're waiting for that, I can say, let me look at notes really quick, make sure I can get a note up. Oh, look at this. Ding, 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 ding. Call the dentist. Call. And if I snooze it, it'll come back in 10 or 15 minutes. But I just hit close. That's on my Mac. It was on the top of my iPad, or my iPhone, but you notice it's still up on my iPad. So I'm going to do one last thing before we leave. If it's on, they have to be on the same account on iCloud. And you notice the reminder disappeared. This is new in iOS7. The reminder disappeared from my iPad because I closed it on my computer. It used to be you had to keep closing on each one. Add toothpaste to my new note. She may not find my new note because it says new note notes. So we'll do notes when I get back, or when we get back from break. Let me quit the recording. Go ahead, Val.
Can you add a sound to the
To Siri.
to the reminders?
Yeah, for saying.
You can adjust them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually has a sound unless your sound is off.
Going to say